Yes, ma'am.
Has a lot of energy. Has to tire
A
him out.
text message? When?
The little ones are always like, they look like they're
Hold on, I was just
No, he can go. He's
on my phone.
just about 8 months now. Yeah, and it's a lot, yes, old pup, a lot of energy. I don't know. I'll take him
Not there?
down the beach drive, walk down the boardwalk down.
Someone got a text message.
I mean, whatever. I just want to let you know that this resolution is wrong. It talks about a detached garage being moved and replaced, but we only talked about the pavers and the patio.
Oh, no, look what we're talking about. Which one's this?
Hi, Rich.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
What's everyone parking in the lot?
That may be my office. Okay, you have that one. Let's see. Craig, I didn't look at this. How are you? Can you read that paragraph of the resolution?
That paragraph's not right.
Okay, what am I, I'm just deleting the one sentence, right?
This was the pool application, so. That third paragraph is just,
What happened to this thing?
the applicant
Is this the
proposed an
wrong-
addition and alteration to a single-family residential dwelling. That's incorrect.
Testing, testing.
That's incorrect. The detached garage is being removed and replaced by an attached garage. That's incorrect.
What happened? We pulled in the wrong, we pulled in from the wrong engineer letters, what we
That's
did.
not what
compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. If any member has reason to believe this meeting is being held in violation of this act, they should state so at this time. Seeing none, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mrs. Werner,
Here.
Mr. Venuto,
Here.
Mr. Ledwin.
Here.
Mrs. Notch.
Here.
Ms. Sheehan. Mr. Walsh.
Here.
Mr. Zexer.
Here.
Mr. Cataldo. Mr. Bodnar.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the minutes of November 9th.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Notch, seconded by Mr. Ledwin.
Mr. Ledwin,
Yes.
Mrs. Notch,
Abstain?
Ms. Sheehan,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Zexer,
Abstain.
Mr. Venuto,
Yes.
Mrs. Werner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a resolution for Anthony and Eileen Matarazzo. This resolution needs to have paragraph 4 struck. Otherwise, we need a motion to approve.
The fourth whereas clause.
Whereas. So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Ledwin, seconded by
Is that Mr. Zexer?
Venuto.
Mr. Venuto, thank you. Mr. Ledwin,
Yes.
Mrs. Notch,
Abstain?
Ms. Sheehan,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Zexer,
Abstain.
Mr. Venuto,
Yes.
Mrs. Werner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry about that. We'll clean it up.
Okay, our first application tonight is Abby's Cove LLC, 1302 Texas Avenue. If you'll come up and turn on your microphones, please. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Secretary, board members, and professionals. I'm Bob German. I am the owner of Abby's Cove LLC, a small construction company and handyman service.
Excuse me, Bob, could you move your microphone a little closer?
Okay?
Thank you very much.
I'm here with Dr. Andrew Drake, the property owner, and we're requesting relief from City Ordinance 525-60, J as in John 6. That's minimum roof pitch to allow construction of a screened-in porch on an existing rear deck.
Sir, if you're not an attorney, I'm going to have to swear you in, okay? And can I swear you in as well? Please raise your right hand. We're also going to swear in the board engineer. Do each of you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, sir, sorry to interrupt you, but I have to have you sworn in. Go ahead.
Using the page numbers in the lower left of your packet, page number 4 reiterates my previous statement. Pages number 9 and 10 are the manufacturers of the standing rib roof material, showing that the minimal pitch of .25 and .50 per 12 inches. Page 11 shows the rear of the house, existing deck, and dimensions of the proposed screened-in porch. I think from that photograph, you can, it's very plain to see why we cannot go any higher or increase the slope. And on page number 19 is a sketch of the roof slope.
know it's obvious to you, but are you saying the windows is what prevents the roof pitch?
Right,
Okay, I just want to make sure I have that in the records.
correct. And at this time, I'll be happy to answer any additional questions.
Does anyone have, any board member have any questions?
The lots were subdivided there, correct?
Right.
So how far is this actually from the other property line?
Stacy, quite frankly, I'm not sure, but everything was approved. The only stipulation that zoning put forth was the roof pitch.
Okay.
Is that, excuse me, is the depth of this porch right now, is that 12 feet?
Yes,
It doesn't look like 12 feet from the street. And it's just going to go cover the two small windows, right? It's not going to go to the two large ones?
correct. It'll start at the right-hand side of the double windows
Right,
and even with a railing.
and even with a railing. And there's no egress from the house then, other than coming in from the front and
No.
the side all the way down?
Correct.
Okay. If there's no other questions, we could have Craig's report.
Pardon?
Okay to have Craig's report. You have another question?
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to summarize my October 18th, 2023 review memo for this application. This is an addition to a single-family dwelling. You're proposing to construct a screen porch over the existing wood deck that will require a variance, and that variance is for minimum roof slope. And I believe they're asking for that variance relief because of the configuration of the windows on the second floor does not allow them to meet that minimum roof slope requirement. With regards to the checklist requirements, there was one item that needs to be addressed, and that's just to affix the approval signatures to the plans as a condition of any approval. Providing they do that, we did recommend deeming the application complete. The physical improvements conform to all of the setback requirements. That existing deck does not encroach into the setback, so the only variance that's necessary. There are some existing nonconformities on the lot, but it's not related to the structure. So it does conform with all the R2 district requirements. And the roof slope requirement says that no residential structure shall be constructed with a roof having a pitch less than 4 and 12, nor greater than 12 and 12. And there's an exception for mansard roofs, but this proposed roof slope is 1.2 inches and 12-inch slope. So it doesn't meet the minimum 4 and 12. Okay, I'll roll.
What potential problems would the lack of slope cause?
It's my opinion, I believe that requirement is in there because of the historical architecture within the city, and they're trying to get, consistent. So this is not in the historic district, but it's my opinion that those roof slopes are in there so that the architecture is consistent throughout the historic part of the cities. But that section applies to it's citywide, so.
Craig, aside from architecture, there's no structural reason there's no structural reason in your opinion that would.
No, I don't, I believe it's
Okay.
more visual.
Architectural,
Yes. Any other questions? Okay, all of the general review comments should be conditions of approval. These are our standard conditions. One, I already talked about it, add the approval signature blocks. Two, we've asked that they provide the setbacks on the plan. We did scale the setback for the proposed improvements. It does meet the required setbacks. However, the plan should be, that's the minimum amount of information that we need on a plan. So the plan should be revised to include that information. 3 is our standard condition that we'll evaluate the sidewalk after construction and make sure that nothing's broken, and we'll replace that sidewalk to the satisfaction of the board engineer. 4 is our standard requirement that they have to post the inspection escrow, and that the CO is tied to the acceptance of the improvements. 5 is our standard condition that they have to comply with the Shade Tree Commission, Fire Department, and Public Works Department's comments. We did receive the Fire Department's review. They approved it with no comments. Public Works Department approved it, no comments, and Shade Tree approved, and they just asked that you protect the trees along the side fence during the construction to avoid damage to those. Do you have any issue with that?
No, by no means.
Okay, so that should be a condition of approval. 6 is our standard condition that they have to comply with all other necessary state, county, and local approvals. 7, I already talked about. This project is not located in the historic district. 8, they are required to comply with any and all applicable affordable housing requirements at the time of approval or issuance of building permits. And finally, should the board grant approval, they're required to submit the requisite number of sets that are revised to meet the conditions that the board sets. And that's a summary of my review memo, and I'm happy to answer any questions the board has.
Craig, if I might mention one thing. I photocopied the drawings that were submitted with this packet, and it has margins on it where I feel it's suitable for the signatures.
Okay, we'll work that out. We can talk about it after approval.
Fine?
But there just needs to be a record of the approved plan with the city.
Right.
Okay?
Okay, any other questions for Craig, or?
Awkward silence?
You're up.
Good. Make a motion?
The motion I recommend being made is a motion to grant the application as presented.
We didn't open it for public comment.
Oh, sorry. Anyone within 200 feet? Anyone beyond 200 feet? Okay, closed to the public.
Okay, the motion that I'd recommend being made, although how you vote is up to you, is a motion to grant the application for the variance listed in Craig's report. Somewhere, oh, there it is. On the bottom of page 2 for minimum roof slope, subject to the conditions outlined by the board engineer, which is number 18 on the, number 18 on page 2, and 1 through 9 on pages 3 and 4, with the addition that the applicant will comply with the shade tree letter dated November 3rd, 2023. That's the motion I recommend being made, but how you vote is up to you. I just want to add that the basis for the ordinance seems to be architectural, and this is in the rear of the home, which mitigates to some degree the impact of that on the architectural view of the property. I'm not sure that was mentioned, but I wanted to put that in there as perhaps a purpose of zoning.
I make a motion to accept that resolution.
Motion by Ms. Sheehan,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Ledwin.
Okay, Mr. Ledwin? Yes. Mrs. Notch?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Zexer?
Yes.
Mr. Venuto?
Yes.
Mrs. Werner?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How you vote, Gunny?
Thank you.
That was easy.
Good luck.
The application for Lisa Castleton, 217 Perry Street, has been adjourned to the January 25th, 2024 meeting.
This is your notice for that application. If anybody wants to be heard on that, they should appear on the date announced by the chairperson. There will be no further notice. Thank you.
Our next application is Dev Jagadesan, 918 Columbia Avenue. And Ms. Sheehan will recuse herself since she's within 200 feet. Could you make sure you're on there, green light?
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's do it like this. Good evening, members of the board. On behalf of Mr. Jagdish and Charles Sandman, we are here before you today seeking certain variance relief, hardship variance relief, as well as a use variance. Mr. Jagdish is proposing, well, first of all, it is an existing non-conforming use in that it has a apartment on top of the garage in a zone where only single-family residences are allowed. We're seeking relief from that ordinance only in that he's adding a porch to the existing garage. He's not expanding the size of the principal dwelling or the size of the actual garage, just simply a little porch around the top part of the garage where the second floor apartment is. And because it is an existing non-conforming use, any addition there too would be an exacerbation, and that's the mere reason why we're before you today. Not that he's really adding anything to it other than that small porch so that he can use it. He's going to provide some testimony here today, and I'll let him get into that. And we have Mr. Rami Nasser here to explain the engineering aspects of this application. So having said that, I'd like to have Mr. Jagdish sworn in.
Okay, I'm going to swear Mr. Nassar as well. If you would please raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
If you could bring the mics a little bit closer, it's a little hard to hear, and yours needs to be on. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jagdish, you're the owner of the subject property, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, can you explain to the board what yours and your family's use of this property has been over the years?
The apartment's personal use, and the main house has been a rental property.
Has the apartment always been personal use?
It's been, I think, about 10 years we had it when we first bought the property.
Sir, could you get a little closer, Mo?
Sure.
Just project a little bit, because
Sure.
I can't
Sorry.
hear you, and that probably means others can't.
I think it's been about 10 years where, when we first bought the property, that we also rented the apartment.
Are you
when we first
aware of
did.
how long that there has been an apartment over top of that garage?
It's been there since, I think, 1954, when the house was built.
Okay, so you see, the garage apartment has never been used as a rental?
It has. Well, like I said, the first 10 years we owned, I think we purchased around 2003, and so about 10 years we had rented the apartment as well, and then after that, we started personal use of it.
How long have you been using it personally only?
So at least 10 years or so.
Okay, so it was prior to that it was used as a rental?
Correct, correct.
Okay, do you have any intention of using it as a rental in the future?
No, this is that property is ours. So-
Personal use
Yes,
only?
exactly.
Okay, can you tell the board why you want to construct this porch around the second floor where the apartment is located?
We just want outdoor space to be able to enjoy the outdoor space in the property.
And this is where you stay when you come here?
Correct.
Okay, but there is no outdoor space like a porch or anything like that where you could sit outside on a nice day?
Correct.
Okay, and that's what this is all intended to be?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Jagdish? No? Okay, I'd like Mr. Nasser.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you briefly explain to the board what exists there now, what is being proposed?
Yes.
Wait, can we just first, Ram, I know you're highly qualified. I just want to just get some on the record, say what your license is so I can.
Licensed professional engineer and planner in the state since 1990.
Okay. You're going to testify as an expert today?
Yes.
Madam Chair, is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm using the exhibit, which is the variance plan we have provided, which is in the package. This shows basically the existing house and in the back, the garage that has an apartment on top. And the shaded area is the proposed deck to be built on the outside on the second floor, which is where the apartment is situated. The front, we're proposing to build a 10-foot wide deck. And currently, on the side of the garage at the bottom, there is a wooden, like a deck, just like the surveyor called it a boardwalk, which is like made out of wood. We're proposing to build the same size in width and bring it up so at least they will be able to have access to the property. And by doing this, one of the corners of the deck will be violating the existing side yard setback of 10 feet. It's 6.2 feet. And the portion along the side of the garage where the existing board or deck, the ground deck, that's being increased by 4.3 feet, which brings it a little bit closer to the rear yard. Now it's 19.4 comparing to 24 feet, give and take. So that's what we're proposing to build, and everything will be built on the second floor to access the existing apartment. The garage will stay as it is. We're not modifying any parking. Parking will stay the same. The impervious coverage is being increased by very, very minimal increase. But because of the use, we're exacerbating a non-conforming use. A use variance would be required, plus a couple de minimis bulk variances.
So other than this small addition of a porch, we're not expanding this existing non-conforming use in any way?
The existing non-conforming use is exactly the same. The only thing, we are adding an outdoor space. We're not increasing the size of the building. We're not increasing the number of bedrooms. It's exactly the same space that's there now. We are just adding a front porch to it, basically.
Okay, and the side porch area, isn't there an existing concrete slab that constitutes an existing non-conforming use presently?
It is it's a wooden deck at on the side.
Okay.
That's existing.
But it's already in the setback?
Very small portion of it, not all of it.
Okay.
We're exacerbating that.
Okay, and how much are we exacerbating that side?
We are
setback?
going from, probably exacerbating that by about 3 feet. So it's 6.2, it was about 9.2 feet existing.
Okay. Mr. Jagadisha, we've submitted some photographs with the application, which I'm showing to you now. Does this accurately depict the condition of the property today?
Yes.
And the porch that you seek to add is that side section there and a little section along the front?
Correct.
Which is over top of the driveway?
Correct.
Mr. Nasser, is there anything about this application that would cause any substantial detriment to the public good?
I don't see that. The de minimis exception or de minimis variance we're requesting for the second floor deck does not really have impact on the neighboring property. This lot, basically, it's the largest lot in the whole entire block. All the lots around us are smaller than this property. And because of the shape of the side yards, the side property line would cause that. If it was a little bit straighter, we would not have the problem with the de minimis request we're asking. What we're talking about is probably an area of, the corner of the deck will be about 3.8 feet coming into the side yard, but the space is only like 4 or 5 feet. It's not the entire side yard, just a small corner. That's what's violating the side yard setback. To the rear, the existing structure sits at 12 feet. That's the rear yard setback. The deck would be sitting back at 19.4 feet, still within less than what's existing today as a rear yard setback.
So what's being proposed, is it consistent with the surrounding neighborhood?
I've seen I went to the neighborhood, they have some homes have second floor decks, some homes they don't, and some, depends. But it's some of the neighborhoods, they have this type of setup for their front porches.
Okay, and because it's a second floor apartment, there's no other means that the applicant could make to have any outdoor space associated with that structure, is there?
No, he has to get all the way down to be able to get to the outside.
Okay, anything about what is being proposed would impair the intent and purpose of the zoning plan or zoning ordinance?
No, sir, because we're not changing the intensity of the actual use that's existing since the past 7 years.
Okay. That's all I have.
Just a couple of technical clarifications on the testimony. Can you tell me what variance are you asking for? Is this a C1? Is it a C2?
What-
Is it like, I just need to get some more technical.
The C1 variance would be for just the side yard setback,
Okay.
basically. And the rear yard setback, it's from 25 to 19.4 feet.
How? The C1 variance and the rear yard, the side yard is a C1 variance, and you believe that's because of the odd shape of the lot and the existing location of the structure, right?
Correct, that's correct. Yeah. The shape of the property line, yes, sir.
How will you access this? I don't see stairs anywhere.
Well, can I
It's
just
from
finish this little part here?
I'm
Because I gotta
sorry, I'm
actually
sorry.
have a basis for the, I'm gonna have it in
Yes,
here
sir.
cleanly. Okay, and now the variance for the rear yard, you're saying that that is a C2 because the existing structure is actually closer than the new structure?
Correct.
Okay. And then for the use variance, your existing non-conforming use.
Right.
So you don't need to show site suitability, you have to show that the property can accommodate the increase of the non-conforming use, and you believe it does because it's actually a very large lot, and you're not really,
It's the largest
Adding
lot,
the
yes. We have, the existing use is exactly staying the same. No more intense use will be used for this particular property.
I was wanting that on one tight paragraph, so I have,
Thank-
the judge ever asks me what variances we granted, I can say on what basis.
Thank you, Mr. King. Yes, sir.
How will you access it?
From inside, from the
I don't-
unit. There's no outside,
I
nobody,
don't see any doors there now.
from the unit?
Yeah, there's no door.
If you look on one of the photographs that I have provided, you'll see the downstairs door next to the garage doors.
No, you saw
If you
it.
go in that door, the steps are right there, and you go right up to the apartment.
But how do you get from the apartment out to the,
The deck.
Oh,
out to the deck? There's no door.
there's going to be a door on the
There's
side.
going to be a door. There's nothing there right now.
That's
Okay,
right.
okay.
You're proposing a 20-foot by 10-foot deck on an accessory structure on this lot.
Yes.
So did you see, are there any other structures there? You said that there's others at porches, but how about on secondary buildings having a 28 by 10-foot?
I didn't see that, but I saw some existing unit have a second floor deck, but I don't think it was accessory structure, it was just regular.
Just on the front?
On home, yes,
Residential?
residential, yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Jagdish, you've seen some other
What
properties.
I saw similar is, and forgive me, I don't know the road, but the road that, when you come out my house, past the water tower, and you continue past the hotel, and the road goes like this, and you get to a spot where you're one block from Lafayette. Along there is a beautiful house that has an accessory building with the porch out front as well, and then the parking underneath.
Are there other structures that you know of? that
If I looked at my
potential
map, I
structures?
could tell you what street it's on, but I ride my bike, if I'm going to Wawa from my house, I ride by it all the time.
Are the posts supporting this proposed porch, are they going to interfere with being able to get into the garages underneath? Because on the one picture, it looks like they make it more narrow in this one.
Yeah,
The post looks like they encroach in front of where the doors are.
This one here,
I think you're talking about this one.
yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, I have a golf cart that I pull in and out of there.
You don't put cars in the
No.
garage? No?
But the distance could be what this plan shows.
That's all my,
eight-
that's all my
8
tool-
foot 2
my
inches.
tools and, sorry.
It says 8 foot 2 inches, the other side says 9 foot 5.
Yeah.
They can probably make it even, and we'll put that column in front of the garage in separation, so it would not affect the garage door.
So you rely on those garages for parking, Craig?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I actually, that's one of my comments. I asked, my first comment is, the variance plan must be revised to indicate the driveway in each 9 by 18 parking space indicated on the zoning table. The required 9 by 18 parking spaces should be delineated on the driveway and garage. So we have to demonstrate you're required to have 5 parking spaces. You have 5 bedrooms in the main dwelling, and then 2 bedrooms in the garage apartment. That's a 5-space parking requirement, and one of the conditions is you have to demonstrate that you can adequately park this.
that?
I mean, I can address it. I parked 5 cars. Oh, okay.
Well, you go ahead, you can say whatever you want
I
to say.
mean, we parked 5 cars there all summer, but I could certainly take a picture of
Can't hear you, sir.
I said I can certainly take a picture of the 5 cars in the driveway if necessary.
Well, they need to be compliant parking spaces.
Oh, okay.
We'll show the parking spaces on the revised plan to ensure that we have 5 parking spaces.
Do you have any comments back from the HPC? You're in the historical district?
We have had no comments with regard to that.
Have you submitted an application to the HBC yet?
I don't think we were required to submit it at that point, but we can if we need to.
You're in the historic
You're in the
district, you certainly do need to.
Then we will do it.
Okay.
All right, so you understand that one of the conditions of approval is the HPC approving this. If they don't approve it in the way that you've presented it to us, you need to come back, because we're approving based on what you've applied for.
Not a problem.
Are you parking 5 cars not in the garage, just in your driveway? Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
On one of your pictures, it looks like some of the construction was already started. Was that started prior to getting any approvals?
Can I answer that? I can answer that for him.
This one right here?
When he came to me, when the
Can you talk into the microphone?
Okay. When he first came to me, the city had come upon him and told him that he required a permit for the structure. That was the first time he knew that he had to do that and get a permit, and he stopped right at that point in time, and then we began this process.
He didn't know he needed a building permit to put a deck on his house,
He,
the second floor?
not all, I guess, not, well, as far as I know, no.
I was, he testified to that.
Go ahead.
I received bad advice on the need for a permit.
Who gave you that advice? Not me.
Correct. Local friend, sorry. Apologize. The bottom area, though, has always been there since I've owned the property. Underneath that little coverage, that's always been our area to keep trash.
So, and based on the advice your friend had given you and the fact that you were covering something that was already covering the ground, you
Yeah,
didn't think
so-
much of it?
Yeah, everything on that bottom has been there since we purchased the property.
So the door is going to go on the side of the house, where where do you plan on?
Where that window is.
This window right here is just going to take the window out and
That window comes right to the top of a landing area to the apartment. The stairs come up there, and that would give you a 36-inch door.
Can we have Craig's report, and then everybody can say what they need to say after that? If there's any other questions.
Okay, so my latest review memorandum for this application is dated September 1st, 2023. This is a project located in the R3A Medium Density Residential District with the restricted designation. You've heard testimony from the applicant indicating what they're proposing to do. It's a 10 by 28-foot deck with a 3-foot 11-inch walkway over the stone driveway. So I'm just going to roll right into the completeness review. There were some waivers that were requested under the general requirements for all applications. They're required to submit any past resolutions They indicated that there are none, so there's none in recent history. And then with the C and D variance checklist, items 4, 19, and 33, they requested waivers from those, and we supported all of those based on the nature of this application, and did recommend it being deemed complete. Okay, so this application requires a use variance, and that is for the expansion of a non-conforming use. So our ordinance under section 525-9 says you can only have one principal use or structure on a lot. In this case, we have one single-family dwelling plus what could be considered a second or a garage apartment over there. So you have 2 dwelling units in a zone that only permits 1. So that's a nonconformity. And then, quite simply, the apartment over a garage is not permitted in the R3A district. So any expansion to that structure necessitates that use variance for the expansion of the nonconforming use. So that's the variances that go with the use. As far as the structure goes, the structure encroaches in both the rear yard and the side yard setbacks. The rear yard setback requirement in this district is 25 feet. The nearest measurement to the proposed improvements on the second floor are 19.4 feet. And then on the side yard, there's an 8-foot side yard requirement, and the closest, and that there is an angled lot line along there, so the closest that it comes is 6.24 feet, so that doesn't comply. So there's 2 C variances necessary for those requirements. I'm going to roll into the general review comments on page 4 or 5. Item number 1, I already talked about this, but I had questions with regards to how this is properly parked. We want to make sure that the structural supports aren't, prohibiting adequate parking. So we need to see that those plans be revised to show the support posts as well as the compliant 9x8 parking spaces. There may need to be a little widening of that driveway. That's just my opinion, just looking at it. You do have some lot coverage wiggle room there, so it probably can be done, and it is a stone driveway, and you get 50% credit for that, so it shouldn't be unfeasible to park it. Item number 2, we've asked for setback information. So that side yard setback of 6.24 feet is not dimensioned on the plan, so we ask that that be revised. Item 3 and 4 are our standard stormwater management and grading requirements, conditions. 1, we ask that the runoff be directed towards the front of the lot and not toward any of the adjoining properties. And then if the improvements were to change the stormwater runoff patterns, a grading and drainage plan should be required. And item number 4, they also have to comply with the new stormwater ordinance and meet the minimum stormwater management and grading requirements that are associated with that. Item 5 is our standard condition, they replace the sidewalk to satisfaction of the board engineer. 6 is our standard condition that they have to post an inspection escrow, and the CO is tied to the acceptance of the improvements. 7 is comply with the requirements of the Shade Tree Commission, Fire Department, and Public Works Department. We received Fire Department approval recommendation with no comments. Public Works Department approval with no comments. And then Shade Tree Commission recommended approval. Project as proposed has no tree impact, so there doesn't seem to be any issues with those recommendations. On number 8, they have to comply with any and all necessary state, county, and local approvals. Item number 9, we touched upon, is this project is located within a historic district, so they do have to get Historic Preservation Commission approval. 10 is our standard condition that they have to comply with the applicable affordable housing requirements. And item number 11, should the board grant approval, they're required to revise the plans and submit those for review to the board engineer for review and approval. Happy to answer any questions the board has.
I just want to go back to something for a second. I want to clarify the record and the standards. I want to get this right. Okay, this is a D2 variance. It is expansion of a non-conforming use. I kind of, I bungled the standard before because I sort of gave it the standard for a floor area ratio variance, which is I think a D5. And this is actually a D2, so it still requires special reasons. The fact that it's an existing non-conforming use, the difference between that and a regular use variance, you're still required to show special reasons, still required to do the same positive, negative criteria, but aesthetics, under the Burbridge case, can be a basis for the granting of expansion of a non-conforming use, whereas that's not the case if it didn't already exist. So what they do is they create an exception for when you have a non-conforming use, but you're really making it appear nicer. Normally, aesthetics wouldn't be a special reason, but for things that already exist, uses that already exist, they let you use aesthetics as one of the reasons to expand a non-conforming use. In this case, I don't know that aesthetics is really applicable in the sense that there wasn't a lot of testimony about it, but also they haven't gone to the HPC yet, so it's really hard to give them, you know, a lot of aesthetic points because you haven't had our aesthetic people opine on it yet. And usually that's the purview of an architect as well. So for the special reasons, I would ask if we just get a little more testimony. I think there is some testimony on special reasons in the sense that they're not expanding the
Habitable floor.
habitable space so that the use isn't really expanding, but they are exteriorizing a non-conforming use, which if it were a bar, that would be a big deal, okay? I think if you had a bar that was a non-conforming use and you're putting outside space in a bar in a residential neighborhood, that's an expansion of non-conforming use, and that would be very difficult to show the special reasons, okay? In this instance, it's an exterior, you know, a porch, which my experience at Cape May is favored, right? Outdoor living in Cape May is a, I don't know if it's a special reason that they're arguing that and they can explain that and you can consider it. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that I want you to give some special reasons because it is a D variance, okay? So I just want to, and you need 5 out of 7 votes. So I want to be careful and give you the best opportunity to get all of your arguments and standards in there for you. So go ahead.
The use of this outdoor space, currently, they're living in this apartment. I mean, that's for his own family. They're able to use the outdoor, but instead of coming downstairs, it's just going to be upstairs. So it's really not changing the characteristic of the use of the property. It's not changing the area of the use that being used, except instead of them coming downstairs to sit outside, now they can just walk outside and enjoy the space. I think having a second floor deck on this will make it a little bit better looking than what it looks now. The door is gonna, that door with that canopy on top is gonna go out. It's gonna make it a little bit better looking, but it's not 100% beautifying the property, but it's adding to the character of the property.
Is there any reason there's not a finished diagram of what the finished product would look like outside of just a shaded area?
You mean this area here?
Yes. You know, from an aesthetic standpoint as well, you know, you drive by it, and I drive by it all the time, you know.
I'm not following you, sir. I didn't follow the question.
We submitted
Okay.
that.
So that, okay.
Okay.
What page is that?
It's in the application, and it is right after the survey.
Okay.
At least in my package. And right before the site plan itself.
Okay.
It's this here.
Thank you.
Just that.
I have one more question. On the back of the house, on the main house, there's a space there that says concrete, right? And there's a dotted line that says outline. So where it says concrete, I assume that's a back porch to go into the house?
Is that,
Yes. It's a little breezeway.
There's a roof over that?
There is, yeah.
Sloped or flat?
It is sloped.
The reason I'm
Like,
asking-
Not sloped in the degrees that you all were in your previous hearing.
Well, the reason I'm asking is that the height of the deck and the height of that roof would probably be very close. if I'm correct, there's no chance that that could ever be connected. If that roof was flat, then you would have a giant deck.
Yeah.
The way
If
from
it's
the
sloped
picture,
roof,
I
it's not a
see
problem.
the roof is
Right.
a bit higher than this space.
It'll be higher than that.
That's what the existing roof, that's what I see here from the picture.
And with all honesty, that area, you're not walking on safely.
Well, it's what we're doing now and what the future holds. you know?
Yeah, yes, understood, but it's a flat area that covers that area from rain, and it kind of leaks through, to be honest with you. It's a tar roof on top in the back. And supported by a single pole.
So it's your testimony that there's never any intention to
No,
connect the
no,
properties
there's
that way?
no intention to connect the property like that. And I think that also, when the construction official spoke, there's something about since it was connected or wasn't connected on how it was.
Is it connected? Are the house and the garage connected?
They-
It's hard to
they-
see from pictures.
Yeah, by that area you're talking, that
Right,
little
there's like a
roof
little-
ties into the apartment, and then a single pole, and then it ties into the back porch.
Is it structurally connected, or is it just like that, looks like a side fascia?
Just a side fascia.
Okay.
To answer your question, sir, the distance between the deck that we're proposing and the roof, it looks about 16 inches higher. The roof is higher 16 inches.
Yeah. That's about, yeah, that's going to be about right.
Okay.
I have a question as well. The testimony is this is one of the larger lots on the street, and you've offered that as a reason that supports your application. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Looking at the plans, it appears as though there's a fairly substantial backyard as well. I mean, there's open space. There's nothing restricting you from using that as your open space, is there? You're saying you want the deck to have outdoor space. The backyard, you were able to access that outdoor space
Yeah.
for the apartment, are you not?
We don't use the backyard because of the rental house. So we just don't get to use it. So this is, when we come up in the summer, that house is rented.
So you do that by your choice, though, correct?
Yeah, I don't think we could rent the house and not give them the backyard. The backyard is an attractive portion of this house. When people rent it, there's always families and kids playing in that backyard, and so we don't use the backyard because of that. That's where they have their grill and things, and so we just don't get to use it.
Okay, but at the same time, the garage is essentially connected by way of the breezeway to the house. I mean, they're not like, you don't have a building
Yeah,
over here and a
but-
building over there. You have everything is within, well, it's all together as one.
Yeah, but if you can see, our entrance here is to the right of the apartment, and so we can come and go and not disturb, not even be seen by the tenants for the most part. So we stay to the right side, the renters stay to the left side, and so, my family comes and goes all summer long. And we just don't, and if people need something in the main house, we can take care of it because we're right there, but we really don't interact with the tenants because we don't want to interrupt their vacations.
Mr. Jagadishan, did you want to provide other testimony about your special reasons for wanting to build this porch here?
No, I mean, inasmuch as the attorney was looking for more indicia to meet the requirements, it certainly is going to make it aesthetically better. And so it will make, again, seeing what I've seen in other properties here, making a beautiful porch in the front is going to be better than what you currently see. So there's no doubt in my mind it's going to be aesthetically better. And I really think the HVC as well will like it as well, so.
But currently, you have no drawings of what this is going to look like.
Well, we did
just the-
submit
just
one
the
with the
one,
plan
yeah.
of the front.
Yeah.
If you,
I think,
right
that certainly is better than the existing.
Is that the plastic railing on the top?
It's that plastic railing on the top.
here, do you have a copy?
I do, but it doesn't really tell me what it looks like.
Well, that's the best idea we can get, because it's.
Yeah, those are just vinyl caps.
But it's going to.
If those can be taken
I
off,
think you're going to have some HPC challenges.
well, we can take the vinyl caps off.
thing.
They're sleeves, and if
Yeah.
we can make it all wood, I don't mind.
My concern is some of the questions around the aesthetics, the cosmetic, so to speak, aspects, those are HPC questions. Those are not zoning questions.
Yeah, and I was answering because the attorney said we needed to provide testimony but regarding aesthetics. So that's all I was answering for.
Aesthetics as it related to the ability to get the D2 variance.
Correct. He said,
But at the same time, we're still facing the question of HPC approval, too.
yes, and if the HPC would like it in wood, I'll do it in wood. If they'll allow.
I understand.
Yeah. I'll, either way.
Just bear with me for a second, I want to look at something right quick. I'm getting a feeling. See, you need, because it's D variance, you need 5 yeses, okay? So I just want to look into something about the HPC real quick, all right?
Sure.
One option the board has is you can refer the applicant to the HPC so that they can opine on some aspects of this, and we can adjourn it for that purpose for whatever period of time is appropriate. I would suggest 2 meetings so they have time to do that if that's your inclination, so that the HPC can give what they call conceptual approval, so that they can come in and they can talk about whether they're going to, how they're going to adjust this, okay? If 2 or 3 people, if 3 people on the board are concerned about the aesthetic impact of this and don't feel that it advances that purpose of zoning, you could lose unnecessarily and you won't be able to come back and get another vote. It'll be res judicata. But if the board adjourns it so that they can get the advice of the HPC, you can go to the HPC for conceptual approval, which oftentimes is how it comes to us with the HPC approval, HPC conceptual approval. You may stand a better chance of getting the number of votes that you may need to pass, because the board will have the benefit of having heard from the HPC that this is what it's going to look like, that they're comfortable with the materials, the design of the deck, its location, where the door is going to be. They do streetscape. So if you want to have a vote now, I mean, I'm getting the sense that people want to hear from the HPC, and it might not be in your best interest to have a vote now. Okay, you're gonna have to go there anyway, so it's not like an extra thing, okay? So that's up to the board. You guys are the deciders, but I think if they request an adjournment to go to the HPC so you get the benefit of their input before you make a decision, is that just a poll of the board? Is there some people who think that's a good idea?
I don't know. I guess one thing I would have a question of, as far as just the issue of expanding the use of the garage apartment this much, if there's that much of an issue with the board to say that this entire project should not go forward and to vote it down on the basis of the use of this 280-foot deck, I don't want, with all due respect, I don't want to waste people's time.
If you're of
in
the
that
opinion
regard,
that,
too.
if the board has a sense that you're gonna vote no, no matter what the HPC says about it, then vote now and save them the money. So I'm not telling you guys what to do, I'm just giving you options, okay? That's my My job is to give you options, and also in some ways, I don't like an applicant to lose on something that they can fix, right? So, one of the options that we have under 55D-10 is to get advice from the zoning board, from the HPC on zoning applications. That's one of the things you can do, okay? So I'm just presenting all that for all of you to discuss and think about. So your choices are, you can vote now, and maybe it passes, maybe it's rejected. Or you can say, majority of you say we think we'd be better off hearing from the HPC first and then making a decision. That's up to you. I'm not a decider. Okay, I'm just telling you options. I don't know that anybody, that doesn't come off, usually we've heard from the HPC first, right? So you can put that into your CPU when you consider that as one of your purposes of zoning, is the advancement of historic issues, historic benefits, and also aesthetics. You may not have that in your arrow in your quiver tonight, so I wanted to give them a chance to get that. But if you think, regardless of the aesthetics, that you don't like the expansion of this non-conforming use in the exterior, regardless of the aesthetics, and you need to talk about that, this needs to be your sense. Other people say, I'd rather vote now, and then we'll do that. Not my job.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
And
I believe it'd be a good idea to table the application because there are other concerns that have been brought up, both in the engineer's report that we can address. Number one, the parking. We can actually submit revised plans that will designate those 5 parking spaces that will satisfy that requirement, ahead of time. That, and also to come back with the HPC's findings, suggestions, or whatever. I think it makes it a much more clear picture for the board to vote upon at that time. So I would ask that we just table it for that purpose.
You're absolutely welcome to ask, but they're allowed to vote at this point too. So it's in their discretion. So I've given them the options. They have the full panoply of options available. So you can vote to adjourn it. We'll set a date so that they renotice, and we'll give them 60 days or something so they have some time to get to the HPC and get back. Or you can not vote to adjourn it for that reason, and you can vote on the application, yes or no. That's up to you, Madam Chair. You invite motions, and people make motions, and they discuss, and that's what you guys do.
I have a question, 2 questions for you. Do you have a current mercantile license?
For the main house, yes.
Yes, it's current.
Yes.
Because it's not noted in the application.
No.
Okay, the second thing that I'd like to have clarified is, it appears that the initial construction of that side deck is pretty new. How did that happen? How did the contractor do that without a building permit?
Like I said.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
in the
You
record.
did it yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, we did it myself. Me and a friend of mine. That's.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we table the application for 60 days.
can I just say, do we open to the public in case the one member of the public who's here wants to make a comment?
Sure.
7:04.
Okay.
Machine, you are a member of the board. You're perfectly entitled to testify, but I got to give you some instructions on how you can testify. You can testify about the impact that this application has on you. You can also give reasons why you think it'd be accepted or rejected. What you can't do is talk about what you believe the board has done in the past, or what the board should, or what the board, you can't speak as if you're an expert on zoning because you're a member of the board, okay? But you can talk about the impact on you because you live within 200 feet. So I'd ask you to direct your testimony to the impact on you of this application, okay? Best you can. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your address.
928 Columbia Avenue. I just have a question.
Can you say that again?
928 Columbia.
Thank you, go ahead.
Is there going to be any additional living space put in downstairs? Or is there any living space downstairs in the garage?
There's not. We use the garage as my storage and a game room. It's a ping pong table, foosball, and my tools. And as I said, I parked my.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
As I said, I parked my golf cart there.
So there's no living space on the first floor?
Correct.
And there's not intended to be any living space on the first floor?
There is certainly seating. There's my outdoor furniture that I bought for the deck. And bikes. Bike
Is it
storage.
heated and air conditioned?
It is not. Well, the pipes are wrapped in electric tape because the pipes are underneath.
Are the, I couldn't hear, but is the garage going to, I mean, the door for that deck going to be on the side of the building?
Yes.
And are the windows going to be changed?
The one window will be replaced with a door.
Oh, in the front?
No, the windows in the front would not change.
Okay.
Unless, of course, then if I'm required to put the door up front, I think that would not be pleasing.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
There was a motion, but no
So
second. We're
right.
starting over.
Okay, I'll make
Your
a motion
motion
again that we
is
table the application
to
for a period of
table.
60 days.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Mr. Ledwin makes motion, and Mr. Walsh seconded.
Thank you. Mr. Ledwin?
Yes.
Mrs. Notch?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Zexer?
Yes.
Mr. Bodnar?
No.
Mr. Venuto?
Yes.
Mrs. Werner?
Yes, and my reason is that I don't feel like it's a complete package. There's really, that one single piece of paper does not really show me what this is going to look like. I think the HPC definitely has to weigh in. And the parking is also the issue.
Ms. Keene, can you give them a date tonight so that they don't have to renotice and we can announce? Okay, well, we'll take a shot at that. That was going to be the fourth Thursday of February.
I would be looking for 60 days at least, because I got to go to the HPC.
Well, the fourth Thursday of February would be 60 days, wouldn't it?
It's 60 days.
I guess it would.
Fourth Thursday in February is February 22nd.
That's a little short.
You want to move it back a little more?
Why?
All right, we'll go back to March. Go ahead.
March 21.
March 21?
March
March
20.
20, March 20, it's March 28th. The fourth Thursday is the 28th.
March 28. Good.
Okay, so this application is being adjourned to March 28th. The applicant is going to use that time to go to the HPC and get conceptual approval if they decide to conceptually approve it. And we'll resubmit plans to the board at least 10.
Can we do it to April?
May I please, sorry. I travel, I work for the federal government, I'm an international lawyer. I'm pretty sure I have a trip leaving that Thursday, the 28th.
April 20, all right, let's go to April.
That's pretty good, because I would have no idea what I'm doing on that day.
I just, and February 22nd is also another trip, that's why. I knew that one for sure.
April 25?
25th is what I have on my calendar.
25th.
This is going to be April, then?
Okay.
I think so, yes.
Okay, so the application is adjourned to April 25th, 2024. Anyone who wishes to be heard on this application, this is your notice. There will not be a subsequent notice. Please appear on April 25th, 2024 if you wish to speak on this application. Okay.
Thank you. There's one more item. Yes. So everyone has the bills in their packet. We need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make the motion.
One moment. Stacy, would you like to return to the meeting?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just have a question about the bills. The bills aren't the bills that the city's paying, correct? These could be applicants that don't come before the zoning board that we're paying, that these bills are? Because I noticed some of the bills
No.
are things that haven't become before the zoning board.
Now, I don't, I'm unclear on this pay the bills concept, because except for the $500 for the meeting and any litigation, the bills are paid by the applicant through the escrow. So the stuff that you're approving for Craig and I, very little of that do you actually pay. So, I mean,
So then why are we approving it? That's what I don't understand.
It's a new policy change, right?
Okay, I'm just asking for clarification.
It's coming,
I'm just not sure we're the ones
the
that.
majority of the bills are coming from escrows, from the
Right.
applicants.
Right, like, my question was basically, some of those things that are being paid by the applicant for your services aren't even, some of them don't even come before us. So, I mean, that's my thought process is that we're approving projects that never even came before the board for the projects.
Yeah.
This is you.
Some towns do this, some other ones don't. This is a new policy change?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So-
The new city engineer and city manager. He will be the manager January 1.
I think you're getting this, my opinion is that you're getting this for informational purposes. I don't think you guys spend the money. I think the money is actually paid by the city, right?
So the escrow,
It's
the
dispersed.
bills for escrow are paid by the city, but the money's collected from the applicants.
Right, but I mean, even for meetings where, even for like my meeting fee,
Then the city is paying
that's paid by the
that.
city.
Yes.
But so I think it's the zoning board's informational purposes. Now, it's not a bad thing, because what if I was being paid for a meeting I didn't attend? The municipality wouldn't know that, the board would, so it's okay for you to review it. I think the way it's presented is somewhat confusing. You just pointed out the fact that some of these I've never heard of Lord or Little, I don't know what they are.
Yeah, that was when I saw the bills for certain projects, they never came before us, so that's why I was questioning what we were approving.
So both of those are currently incomplete. So Craig's done his review.
Right.
And it's incomplete, so it doesn't come to you till it's complete. So if you want to make.
Oh, they're future projects?
Yes.
Correct.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
so we
sorry.
have applications
I wasn't
on-
even aware of that part.
Yes.
They're with Craig for months before they get to you.
Right, but I wasn't sure, I didn't realize we were approving before they get to us. I thought they were completed projects that were being
Complete
built.
work.
Now, there could be some that the project's ongoing and there are inspection fees that you didn't hear, that this board, some of the folks on the board heard, but some of the new people, they wouldn't recognize those names because some of them take a long time.
Escrow accounts that are 2 years old, 3 years old.
Sure.
Yeah. I thought maybe there were projects that you were doing that didn't require a variance that you were
No,
doing.
this is strictly related to this board.
Okay.
And the planning board is also doing it, so they'll see the planning board ones too.
So that clarified my question then.
But the taxpayers aren't paying for it. It's the applicants that are paying for my services.
So, okay. Motion by Mrs. Notch, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Zetzer.
Thank you. Mr. Ledwin?
Yes.
Mrs. Notch?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes,
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Zexer?
Yes.
Mr. Venuto?
Yes.
Mrs. Werner?
Yes.
Thank you.
And motion to adjourn.
Actually, Terry, just something real quick. I can just give a real quick update on the synthetic turf issue that we talked about, I guess, came up in the November meeting. So after we had that meeting, Stacy reached out to City Council and sent them an email, and actually an ordinance showed up on the City Council agenda. And they tabled the ordinance that was considered. I think they wanted to get more input from, I think, the planning board and as well as from others as well. So where things stand right now is it's still being considered, but the planning board wants to get some input, and the city formed a committee to review the issues associated with that. And in that committee, I was asked to be part of that committee. So the reason I'm mentioning that is, one, to give an update, but also if anybody has any thoughts on, on synthetic turf, as far as how this ordinance should be shaped. This is our opportunity to provide that type of input. So please reach out to me. Give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text. Be happy to meet with anybody and everybody over whatever issues that we want to get collectively before the planning board, because then planning board's going to take all that information and then it's going to work its way back before city council.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a happy new year, everyone.
Karen, do you want these